Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. So we will be starting our session in a minute. I would request for your patience. Okay, so hello everybody. Let's wait for another 2 minutes and then we shall start the session so that everybody can join. So we are waiting for some more participants. So we are just waiting for the speaker to join. She will be joining in a minute. Hello everybody. Thank you for the patience. Another 1 minute because there is some technical issue. I'm just solving it and then we will be get going with the webinar. I'm so sorry for that.
Hi, Nana.
Hello, ma'am. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm really sorry for that.
No problem. I just got it.
I do not know what issue was there, but we are thankful that you're here
Forget
now.
it. Forget it. Yeah.
I'll make you the host,
Yes.
and then you can share your screen.
Sure.
Just
Sure.
a minute.
Thank you.
Um,
Can?
okay, just a minute. Uh, Rahul, are you there? Can you please make Trisha ma'am the host?
Yeah, sure. Done.
Thank you. Ma'am, you're the host now.
Let me
So
try.
I'll just stop sharing my screen and you can share your screen now. Thank you so much, Rahul. Yes, a quick introduction. Hello, everybody. This is Naina Garg from the Globalizers Indore. We are a foreign education consultancy. We are a 14-year-old organization based out of Indore. So we train students for TOEFL, IELTS, GRE, SAT, GMAT, and then the latter part, which is visa and counseling. Today's webinar is about study in Singapore. Especially, we will be talking about Singapore Institute of Management, and we will be making you all aware about what are the courses, undergrad, grad, and even the scholarship opportunities and all the good part and all the benefits is studying in SIM. And today our speaker is Tricha ma'am. She is Country Manager India, Regional Recruiter, Student Marketing and Recruitment Division. Over to you, Tricha ma'am.
Thank you, Naina. Just wanted to know if Prashant is also with us today.
Sorry ma'am, at the last minute he has got some...
No problem. I just wanted to address him if he's around, no problem. So you and your team is here. So thank you, Globalizers, and thank you, Prashant in absentia, for organizing this event for us. So I will be talking about Singapore education scenario a little bit in generic in the start, and then I will introduce SIM to all the students and parents who may be interested in learning and understanding more about education opportunities and career opportunities in Singapore. So let's start with that. Naina, can you confirm if my screens, my slides are visible?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so can't start without mentioning COVID and the impact and the current situation that is currently in Singapore. It's so much now into our lives, so have to address it. The good news is Singapore has been able to manage COVID situation very well, and the current situation is schools and colleges, campuses have gradually started opening up, but there are certain restrictions on the number of students one can really have in the classroom. So for example, right now at SIM, the practice is not to exceed 49 students per class, wherein initially the batch size could be as large as 100. They're now restricting it to 49 per classroom. So of course, the usual hustle and bustle of the campuses will not return anytime sooner than we're expecting year end or early next year. That's the time when we're expecting the campus should be functioning normally. So at the moment, what is happening is right from the start of the year, they had switched to blended model of teaching, and few students, mostly local Singaporeans, were attending few lectures in the campus. The rest of the world, the rest of the international students, they're all still learning through the online mode, which is the current practice with most of the universities around the world. The thing to highlight here and the positive news is because Singapore has been able to manage their COVID cases so well, they have now started easing out the border restrictions. And therefore, we, in fact, early in the year 2021, early January, February itself, we saw some of our students getting their visas or student pass, as we call it, getting approved. And there's a process of getting an entry approval letter. Even that was granted to some of our students, and few students had actually flown into Singapore. So this is something interesting to note, that Singapore had actually opened up their international borders for students pretty early this year. But around April end, when things really deteriorated in India, they had to again tighten up the regulation. And at the moment, again, student pass and entry approval letters have been frozen. But we are expecting around September, October, things will again brighten up, because we can see the situation in India is also improving. And if things continue on the same trend, then we are very hopeful by September, October, latest by year end, students should be back to traveling to the campus. So that's something positive about the situation in Singapore. Now, introducing Singapore as a destination for higher education. Now, definitely we know Singapore not just as a country which is so famous for tourism, and not just a country which is known for their safety standards and being a smart city. That is always there. But we also should know Singapore actually can boast of being that one country where 80% of the world's global company, they set up their Asian headquarter. Economic wise, politically very stable economy. So you will hardly come across a new structure where you will see there's a recession happening in Singapore, at least in the in the past future, and it's not happening in the near future as well. So that's, again, we can attribute it to the small population that it has. It's a small island country with hardly 5.6 million population. So definitely you can look forward to a very high standard of living when you are in Singapore, and you are surrounded by these global MNCs, and people follow a very strong work culture. It's a very law abiding country and a very law fearing country. So these are some things which really help us settle down very easily. And there is never ever an issue that we have to deal with the culture shock, because it's an Asian country. So being in an Asian country, you don't face culture shock, you don't face racism, because they're all Asians. They all treat us as like one of their own. So studying in Singapore, living in Singapore, getting a job in Singapore, it all means you will just be in another country which can exactly act like your second home. So that is something which is very, very comforting thought. And therefore we see a large number of undergrad students preferring Singapore in their early years when they are 16, 17, 18. They don't want to go far off. And therefore they pick up Singapore as a country which is close to India, hardly 4-5 hours away from India. It's an Asian country. The cost of the tuition fee comes down. I'll tell you how the cost comes down. It's because of the model that they teach. They have a partnership model, and that actually brings down the tuition fee. And the fact that it's a very safe country, parents of undergrad students, they prefer. Master students can also look at Singapore primarily because of the kind of MNCs, Asian offices and headquarters that the country has. Therefore, that means a lot of job opportunities. But yes, it is definitely not easy to get into the job front. It's very competitive like any other country, but there are opportunities. There are opportunities for employment as well. And because again, it is known as, of course, it's known as a cheap city. I wouldn't use the word cheap. It's like if you spend one day there in Singapore, they've done a survey where they think you don't need to spend much. But again, when you look at the housing and when you look at the cars, it is very expensive country that way. But being a student, you can really have a very affordable lifestyle, because you don't really need to own a house and you don't really need to own a car there. The transportation system in Singapore is excellent, world class, and you don't really need to own a car there. Therefore, keeping these things in mind, you will finally see that the cost of living and tuition is all affordable there. Now, talking about general Singapore higher education. So let's say what comes to your mind. The moment you speak about Singapore higher education scenario, the first thing that comes to your mind is the public university, the famous National University Singapore, NUS, and the very famed NTU, Nanyang Technological University. Then we have SMU, Singapore Management University, SIT, Singapore Institute of Technology, SUTD, Singapore University of Technology and Design, which has a partnership with Massachusetts. So these are some of the famed public universities of Singapore. And the sixth one is SUSS. So don't be surprised when I say Singapore only has 6 public universities. Compare it to the number of universities India has. So they have only 6, but very famed ones. They're mostly globally ranked. And SUSS, the sixth one, is called Singapore University of Social Sciences, SUSS. And this was part of SIM a few years back till 2017. It was part of SIM group, and one part of us became public, and henceforth it was called SUSS. So SIM as a group has actually contributed to the formation of the 6th Public University of Singapore. That speaks a lot about the credential of the SIM group. Now, in the higher education scenario, it's not just the public universities. They're just 6, so you need more options, because these are 6 very renowned universities, very tough to get into. It's not just a certain percentage of marks that you require. Definitely, you need to go through very grilling interview process, and you need to have a very strong extracurricular activity profile. So it's not easy that everyone who wishes to study in Singapore will get a place in public university. You need to have options, and the private universities are the options, alternate options to these. You will see that in Singapore, we have these university branches like Curtin and JCU. They run their branches in Singapore. That is one option. You also have this partnership model like SIM or Kaplan or MDIS or PSP Academy, what we do is we partner with world-class renowned public universities and we bring down their teaching and learning and faculty and their degree to Singapore. What happens is it becomes easier for Asian students to get that world-class, very sought after British education, very sought after US and Australian education closer home to an Asian campus at a lesser cost. And this is the unique, I would say, is what the Singapore private education scenario is very, very popular for, because it's bringing down public degrees from the UK, from the Australia, from the US, from the France as well at the moment to Singapore. And if we talk about what universities have really partnered with us, then I will take that in a moment. Yeah. So if you are aspiring to study in US and initially don't really want to be in the US for, it could be many reasons, maybe at 17, 18, or initially because of the COVID situation, you might think that, okay, let me start in a closer home campus in Singapore, in a safe country where borders have already opened up. But my ultimate goal is to enter US, or my ultimate goal is to enter Australia. Then you can very well start your first year in Singapore and then take an easy transfer in your second year or at a later stage of your study in Singapore to either the US campuses of our partner universities or the Australian campuses. So because of this option of transfer arrangement available, private universities are very popular. There are many students who start in Singapore and they move on to Australia, they move on to to US, they move on to the UK later on. They enjoy the best of 2-3 continents. They love the fact that initial years when they need to settle down, they are in a closer home campus, they are in a Singaporean campus. And then when they are comfortable, they have grown, they are matured, and then they can face the real wild world, then they shift into larger campuses and they move to US, into UK, into Australia. So this is our strength and this is how we teach. So that's also important. Now, if at all, anyone, those of you, because today's session is focusing on Singapore and what the exact education scenario looks at, when you are exploring Singapore, you have to keep few things in mind, that whichever university you are applying, rest assured, if it's a public university, it's very recognized. If it's a private university, make sure it's edu-trusted. That is the certificate of recognition from the Ministry of Education. So very important, they're edu-trusted certified universities. And check out the duration, because many times if you go for a very shorter duration program, when you come back, it may not be acceptable in India. So most of the time you will see our undergrad degrees are either 3 years or 4 years, which is at par with what is required in India. So these degrees are all recognized. Tuition fee, definitely you will have a look at it and you will be very happy to know that the kind of tuition fee that our partner universities charge in Singapore is about 40 to 50% less than what they charge in their own campuses back home in the UK and the US. So again, the overall costing of your education in Singapore becomes quite affordable. Therefore, many times students plan their undergrad studies in Singapore and then move on for their masters to UK and the US. And even for master students, they find it very, very affordable because they just have to do a 1-year masters in Singapore, because our masters are all taught by the UK universities. And therefore they are happy finishing it in 1 year time, and the cost also comes down. Campus life is something that, of course, you must explore if you're applying to any country. Any country, you always explore the campus life. It's very important to understand whether they have enough activities going around in the campus to keep you engaged, whether they really, really have those clubs and hobby clubs and societies that they talk about. So check out the website of every university and see how they really engage their students. Do they help in your career development? Do they really make sure that while you are a student, you are exposed to the world of employment? Do they have such exercise where prospective employers come and talk to you, and you get a chance to go through mock interviews? So these are something that you must explore when you're applying to any university in Singapore as well. And culture and all, you don't really have to bother because it's an Asian country. So culturally you'll be fine. Language, don't have to bother at all. Everything is taught in English. So don't get, some people ask us, do they all the time speak in Chinese? No, Singaporeans don't speak in Chinese. Many of them have the origin from China, but they all speak in English. Even the cab drivers, everybody, mall, stores, everybody speaks in English. That's the official language. That's the language they've been born and brought up with. So language is not a bar at all. International exposure, you'll get enough. You might say that it's an Asian country, so maybe I'm just exposed to the Asian country like Japan, Korea, Philippines, Singaporeans. True, a lot of Asians, but because look at the model of their teaching. They partner with US universities, they partner with UK universities. So when I say they partner, they actually make sure that the faculties fly down from these partner universities. And therefore, when they teach, you have a British professor teaching you in Singapore, you have a US professor, you have professors from Australia and France coming down and teaching you. So you get all kinds of international exposure. That's important. And of course, employment opportunity and immigration, very important criteria for people who are investing and wanting to go abroad. They need to understand what opportunities the country offers. In this aspect, I wouldn't say Singapore is as famous as Australia or Canada or the US, where they really, really have very strong immigrant friendly rules. In Singapore, it's not that you get an automatic stay back. No, that's not there. So you must know there's no automatic stay back when you are studying and living in Singapore. But the opportunities are galore. If you are doing well, if you have done the right moves at the right time, and if you have been able to get a campus placement, or if you have been able to get the right kind of employer for yourself and applied and made it through the interview, employer will apply for your work permit. That's how it goes. So for that work permit, if you're working towards your goal and it's not happening, and suddenly you see your student pass is about to expire, you still have the option. You can apply. There are provisions to apply for long-term social visit pass. So there are ways by which you can really finish your employment search and then come back if it doesn't happen. But if it happens, then definitely the employer will apply for your work permit or the employment pass. And safety, you don't really have to worry about it. It's one of the safest country in the world. So these are some of our partner universities. I will quickly just go through very quickly through these slides, and then we'll talk about scholarships and other aspects. So Buffalo, the State University of New York, they actually 60% of the faculties, they come from UB Buffalo, the State University of New York. They come and they teach. Most of the programs are related to business and social sciences and communication as well. You also have a choice to do a single degree, a double major. So all the flexibility that you have with the US education comes to Singapore. You have the flexibility to seek an exchange semester. You have a flexibility to just completely seek a transfer to the UB campus in New York. The transfer is seamless. There's absolutely no problem with that. So this is again something that really attracts our students when they are with us. Then with the UK, we have the University of London, the famous, most prestigious London School of Economics, Goldsmith and UCL. They are the premier colleges under University of London, and all of them have partnered with SIM, and they teach their own business programs and IT programs in Singapore at SIM. So yes, you can also think of getting a British education in Singapore, and this could be a nice model for you, that you study in Singapore, but you are again pursuing British education. You can seek a transfer to any of the British universities later on, but then it's subject to approval from that university. It's not an automatic transfer. Credits will be transferred because you're doing a UK education. Credits will be transferred. Okay. Then similarly, we have another UK partner, University of Birmingham, which is a member of the prestigious Russell Group. So again, it matters that the partner universities are all very public universities and well-ranked universities, and that really helps and support our student because they know that they are completing their education and getting their degree from globally recognized universities. That is important. It goes in our favor. And then we have the Scottish partner University of Stirling, which teaches a lot of marketing related program. We also have the famous University of Warwick, which again teaches a lot of master's program for those of you who are wanting to do a British master's, but maybe at the moment you're not wanting to go to the UK. You can have 100% of the faculty from Warwick fly into SIM Singapore. And when I say 100%, it's 100% full faculty, 100% of them fly in and they complete their 1-year masters in engineering, business management, program management, project management, supply chain, logistics management. So master students can pick and choose between these programs. They're taught by Warwick and in Singapore at SIM, and they become alumni of Warwick, University of Warwick, UK. So that's something very, very interesting to note. Then we also have RMIT, the Australian partner, which teaches a lot of undergrad program. Again, they will allow you exchange semester, so that is also possible while you are in Singapore. We have another Australian partner, which is Wollongong, teaches a lot of IT related and most of these new age programs, as we call it, like big data, data sciences, cybersecurity, so digital system security, gaming. Gaming again is, yes, this is very, very major, big business, booming business these days. So all of these are taught by our Australian partner, Wollongong Australia, at SIM Singapore. And again, they will allow you to seek a 6-month exchange semester to the Australian campus. It's allowed. So you can have the best of both the world. You can finish your last 6 months from Australia, pass out from Australia, and start in Singapore in case you wish to do that. And we also have a partnership with La Trobe and Monash. Monash, what they do is the group of 8 universities. Monash runs a foundation year at SIM Singapore. So this is only for undergrad students. Those of you who are looking at the group of 8 universities and maybe you're not eligible for some reason, you can just finish a 1-year foundation program of Monash at SIM Singapore and you become automatically eligible for a direct entry into first year Monash Australia. So that's also a lot of students these days are looking at entering Australia via Singapore, keeping COVID in mind at the moment. They think, okay, I might as well spend 1 more year in Singapore, start off here and then start my undergrad degrees at Monash Australia, because then the progression is guaranteed once you finish the foundation in Singapore. So that's also another way of learning and studying. These days, the pattern of teaching, learning, everything has changed. It's internationalization of education, as we call it. And therefore, it's a very smart way of learning and teaching that you have other country universities coming down, teaching, preparing you, letting you first finish a foundation and then making you eligible for a direct entry. So these are something which the education has really, really become very innovative these days, and it really helps our students. Looking at the French partner Grenoble, so we have Grenoble also, which teaches mostly master's programs. So we have international business and luxury management. Both are taught in Singapore by the French faculty. So primarily, as I was saying, global mobility and exchange opportunities is a factor which is very, very important. So all of you who are thinking of planning your career and first starting your education abroad and then carving out your career accordingly, must look at these options. Where do you have exchange opportunities which are provided by the universities? Yes, all the partner universities and all the programs that we run at SIM, they allow you exchange opportunities from with all across the world. So you can be in Birmingham, you can be at LSE, you can be in Stirling, you can be in RMIT, Wollongong, Buffalo, or any of the UK or the US universities for an exchange semester, because credits are fully transferred. And therefore, it is important and it is advisable also to make use of these exchange semesters. We do a lot of exchange programs, so we're very, very well known for the exchange programs that we run. And tuition fee and all, as I said, just to give you an idea, in Singapore, if you're studying, you may spend about 9 to 10 lakhs per annum as your living cost. And tuition will be much affordable, lesser than living costs. So if you look at my British programs, it could be as low as 6 lakhs per annum and as high as 10 lakhs per annum. And if you look at my US programs, the tuition fee could be somewhere around, I would say, 14 lakhs per annum. So which is still affordable compared to the kind of tuition fee you have to pay if you do the same program from the US campus. So these are something which really attracts, the affordability factor really attracts our students. And living cost, as I said, it's at par with what normally international students spend, 8, 9, 10 lakhs per annum. But yes, what is expensive in Singapore is normally housing and cars and alcohols, which doesn't concern students. So you don't really have to bother about the expensive part because as students, you don't really have to bother for these. Moving on quickly to scholarship. We do a lot of usual stuff like the International Career Fair and career chapters and employer exchange semesters and all that, which is very, very important that I was talking in the beginning, that you must explore and probe with the university that you're applying, whether they have all these facilities for their prospective students and studying current students. And all these add value, all these strengthen your CV, all these really help you learn better and grow better and perform better and become more employable, become more savvy, and you really helps you upgrade your skills. And that is very, very important, especially if you're looking at new age careers. You realize everyone today is talking about two skills only. One is, of course, the highly evolved IT skills, data sciences, business, analytics, artificial intelligence, big data. So these are, of course, the new age careers, and we teach programs related to all of this. And then there's the second skill, which is the human skills, where sales, marketing, training, all these become part of it. So job scenario definitely has changed a lot these days. You will see most of the jobs really these days are either related to the highly evolved IT skills or related to the human skills. So we need to focus on these, developing these two skills. And most important skill, I would say, is, of course, when people come and ask us, do we need, some prerequisite for getting into programs like business analytics or new age careers? So we generally say, as long as you have common sense, as long as you have curiosity, and as long as you have a good communication skill, you will be fine to take up these programs. It just doesn't require that you must be a strong coder or you must be very, very savvy with computing and coding. No, not required. To understand data science and to understand business analytics, you don't really require coding. So anyone can really upgrade yourself. And people who are looking for doing masters in today's world, they're looking at managerial positions, can also go for these skill development programs that we teach and offer in Singapore. Singapore is really doing very well with these new age career profiles that is being required. We have a huge number of partners who come and who lecture our students. We have guest lectures from employers. They come and even talk about, they have networking sessions. They tell you what your CV is missing. They really guide you and help you really shape up and plan your career well. So that is important. And if you ask me what kind of jobs are really available in Singapore, then at the moment, of course, financial services, accounting has always been a favorite there. Healthcare has really picked up. So healthcare, ICT, information communication technology, professional services, and financial services. These are the strong market all across the globe, not just in Singapore, where there is a job requirement, higher job requirement. So let me just quickly do the scholarship and then I'll take questions. So we do have scholarships like for other universities. If you're looking at NUS, NTU, you can go to the website. They have their own scholarships. If you're looking at SIM, we have our own scholarship, which is called SIM Global Education Scholarship, and which is again 100% tuition fee waiver. So there are about 35 to 40 students who get this full award every year. And therefore, if you really want to fight for it, please fight for it. We just not just look at your academic profile, we also look at your communication skill, your leadership abilities, your extracurricular activities, and there is a panel interview which is followed. So those of you who can make it can really just be one of the top 30, top 40 student scholarship awardees from SIM. And we also have some scholarship for our diploma students, because some of our students may not like to start directly with the program. They like to do a diploma, then they make up their mind as to what is really suiting them. Then gradually from diploma, they progress to second year of a particular degree. That's a very popular way of studying and learning in Singapore. So you start with a diploma level where you are not clear what you want to do. You do a bit of business, math, accounting, IT, everything. And then you realize, oh, okay, my calling is in the insurance sector. So let me take up banking and insurance as my honors degree. So this is also a very smart way of learning and teaching there. So we have a scholarship for diploma year as well, and it's a full scholarship of 6 lakhs. So if some of you are interested, can apply for that. I will just move on to the next slide. Okay, that's it. So Nana, we can take questions, and I am not running a video because I saw there was some problem while running the video. So I'm not running the video on the campus, but whole lot of YouTube videos are available on our website. Anybody interested can go through it. So we're happy to take questions now.
Is there any link if you would like to share? I can put it on the chat box.
Just the website link. So where is the chat? 1 second. Let me just stop sharing first.
Anything would do. So I would request attendees, if you have any question, please put it in the chat box, and ma'am will answer each and every question of yours.
Are there questions already in the chat? I don't see. Okay.
No, not yet, not yet.
Okay.
Yes, there is one question. Acha, it's from okay. So not ma'am, not yet, but I want to ask few questions.
Sure.
Okay. So, if like you said, a prerequisite for SIM, so is SIM accepting 3 years graduation degree or 4 years graduation degree? Is there some criteria like that?
Okay. So you are looking at master's program, entry criteria for master's. A 3-year undergrad degree or a 4-year undergrad degree, both are acceptable. So not just SIM, whole of Singapore, any of the public universities or any of the private universities, you will see they are fine with either a 3-year undergrad degree or a 4-year undergrad degree for a master's entry. So absolutely no issues with that.
With IELTS, do they require GRE as well?
Okay, IELTS also is not a mandatory requirement for all the Singapore universities. Specifically, if I talk about SIM and our partner universities, you will be happy to note some of my British partners, they exempt Indian students from IELTS, like University of Birmingham, and they are happy that you have studied all through in English medium, and if your English 12 grades are like 70 and above, they will exempt you from IELTS. Again, some of my undergrad university partners like University of London, LSE, also exempts the Indian students from IELTS, and they are happy to just give a waiver after looking at your English 12 grades. So I would say IELTS is not treated like a mandatory thing. Again, it is not required from visa point of view, but it's good that you take, because at any point of time, if you're seeking a transfer to Australia or to US, you may require that at that point of time from the visa purpose. So I will say it's good to take IELTS, but not mandatory. If you're not interested and if you just want to apply, you can check with us individually on a program to program basis. Some programs may require, some will not require. As far as GRE is concerned, none of our programs require GRE or GMAT. Not even none of our masters, they do not require. Yeah.
And yes, okay. So, can you please just explain how this partnered universities work? How the procedure will go?
All right. So how do we really teach? As I said, partial faculties come down. For masters, it's 100% faculties who come down and they teach the program in SIM Singapore. And for undergrad programs, it's partial faculty which comes down from the partner university and teach. And when I say they teach, it's not just the teaching part. The entire academic direction is coming from the partner university. So if I say it's a University of London, London School of Economics program, it's the LSE academic curriculum that is being replicated at SIM. It's their curriculum, their exam, their question papers. They said they come and examine you, they assess you, and they award you the degree. The degree is identical to what a student will get if you do the same degree in the UK or the US or the Australian campus. So when I say it's a partnership model, it's a very strong partnership model where it's a complete replica of teaching, course curriculum, and degree. There's no difference. The only difference is the campus experience. You experience an Asian campus while being taught partially by Singapore faculties and partially by the partner university, and you have an additional advantage that at any point of time you can seek a transfer or an exchange semester to the partner university. So it's a very win-win condition if you're doing the program in Singapore.
Wow. So, ma'am, we have one question. Ayush is asking, scholarships are awarded on the basis of 12 scores?
On the basis of
12th
12.
standard.
Okay. So if you are looking at my undergrad programs, yes, you can apply for SIM Global Education Scholarship, which is a 100% tuition fee waiver scholarship. And yes, your 12th board is matters, your 10th board matters, your last 3-year academic profile matters. And it's not just the academic profile, as I said earlier. We not just giving you a cutoff that everyone who's like a 90% and plus is eligible for a scholarship. No, you can be a 75% plus, you can be an 85% or a 95% plus. All of you will go through a panel interview, and it's the interview which has the maximum weightage. Apart from your academic grades, your interview will try and understand what kind of person you are. Are you a motivated person? Are you a team person? Have you been active in your student life? Have you done anything to contribute in the society? What kind of really a human being that you are? Do you have empathy in you? So there's a lot of skills, human skills, that they try and analyze apart from hardcore academic grades. Some students in the past have got scholarship who were just 80, 85 percenters, not those 10 on 10 CGPA. But because they had strong leadership qualities, they had very strong communication skills, and they had a good profile of the school, entire school education, they won it. So scholarship requires a lot of skills are being assessed, not just your 12th board results.
So we can say overall profile.
Overall profile.
Overall profile. Okay. Um, okay, so ma'am, like you mentioned that regarding the post-study work permit thing, right? So let's say a student has completed his degree today. So will they get a time to find the job? What are the procedure? What is the procedure there?
Right. So how do we do this? For a master's student, let's say he wants to really wants to explore the Singapore work front and the work scenario. Our advice to master student during the orientation is from day one, please start looking for a job and start applying for a job, because you have only 12 months in Singapore. Therefore, and you are a graduate, so you are eligible to apply for all kinds of jobs. Not all jobs require work experience, they take fresh graduates. So even though you're pursuing your master's, you will need these 7, 8 months to start looking for the right kind of employer who will employ you, and wherein you think that you have the right kind of skill sets that the employer is looking for. And that is where the career service division comes in the picture. We have a very strong career service division which will really tell you, it will show you and highlight you the skill gap that you have between what the employer is looking and what you are studying and doing. And then they will try and advise you and how you can really fill that gap, and how you can really be eligible for the right kind of company for your kind of skill set. That exercise will start from day one of your joining SIM, and gradually in 3 months, 4 months time, you should be doing so much of efforts by taking help from the placement cell and also on your own, exploring and networking, talking to the faculty, taking their help, that in the next 5, 6 months time, you already start facing job interviews, so that by the time you pass out, either you have already cleared the job interview, and therefore the moment you've cleared it, the employer will start applying for your work permit. Then everything will fall in place. So you don't really have to wait for the D day when the degree is awarded, and then wonder that now my student pass is expiring, so what do I do? So everything requires a year long preparation to be able to make it to the work front. It's 1 year of hard work. Yeah.
Got it, got it, got it. And I'm talking about the intake. So do we have January and September both, or
All right. We have
other?
several intakes. For masters, I have April and October. All master students can either come for April or October. For undergrad students, Some of my programs only have September intake, one intake a year, mostly the British ones. But some of my programs, like the Australian program, RMIT, has two intakes, January and July. Wollongong has four intakes, Jan, April, July, October. So
Wow.
depending on the kind of program and the kind of university you are choosing, you can just check on the specific intake that really suits you. So several intakes available.
Okay, okay. And ma'am, when we are talking about the partner university, let's say I go for MSNCS. I take MSNCS from SIM, and I did my 2 semesters from SIM, and then rest 2 semesters. It is up to me. I can choose the country.
Okay. Let me clarify. All the exchange semesters were available to undergrad students
Okay.
because they are here for 3 years or 4 years with us. The exchange semester or the transfer happens. For masters, the deal is 100% faculty themselves are coming from the partner university and teaching. So and it's a 1 year master,
Mhm.
2 semester program. There
Okay.
is no time for an exchange, and the faculty is himself coming from the partner university.
Exactly.
So master students will not get an exchange option. They have to study fully in Singapore, and they are taught by the partner university 100%.
Okay. So that's really nice. We do not have to move anywhere.
Yeah, for masters don't have to move anywhere.
Okay. So I will ask attendees if they have any question, please, they can put it in the chat box, or even they can, this is the feedback link I am sharing. They can put their questions here, and even they can contact for one-on-one counseling, and we will be answering all their questions. Yeah. So I guess that is it, ma'am.
That's it. All right. So thank you, Naina, Prashant, and Globalizers for this wonderful event. I hope the participants benefited from the talk. And if they have specific queries, they can always get in touch with you all. And I am there to support. And if there are very specific query about SIM and Singapore, you feel free to let me know. I will be happy to answer them. Thank you very much, all of you.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for your
Thanks,
time.
Naina.
The session was really informative. We got to know
Thanks.
about a really good university. And if I have any query, I will get in touch with you. And if I have any specific, I will really disturb you for that.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Naina. Thank you, everyone. Can I leave now?
Yes, yes, sure, ma'am.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Please, if you have any query, I have shared the link. Please put your inputs there, and we will surely get back to you. Yeah, thank you for joining it today.